Okay.
May you please state your name and spell it?
My name is Cynthia Warmack, and that's CYNTHIAWARMACK.
And your title or your relationship to Mr. Warmack?
I'm his daughter.
And please share with me when you heard that your father passed away.
I was with him. I was with him when he took his last breath. And I live in the home with him, during his illness.
And what are your thoughts on the impact your father left in this community?
Oh, he left a great impact in the community on several people even outside of the community. He tells me a lot of his history about the city of Newberry, and his goal was to always to help anyone that he was able to help, and he loved the people.
And what was your favorite memory of him that you would like to share?
My favorite memory of him was his smile, his warmth, his love, his compassion for people, his compassion for the city, his compassion to do what was right.
And do you all have any like plans you all are thinking of, the family, like any visuals or funerals that you would like to share, or if that's in the process?
Yeah, it's in the process, but the funeral will be Saturday at the Female Protection Center at 11 o'clock.
On what date?
On April the 13th.
Okay. And anything you would like the community to remember of Mr. Warmack?
Just remember the struggle that he went through by him being the first black mayor, and what he did in order to better the community for the people.
May you please state your name and spell it?
Gail King, Gailking.
And your relationship to Mr. Warmack?
Mr. Freddie Warmack is my father.
And share with me your thoughts on when you heard he passed.
When I heard he had passed, it was a little bit expectant, but not as soon as it happened.
And please share with me on what your father did for this community, being the first African American mayor.
As mayor of the city of Newberry, in his tenure, he got a lot of things accomplished. Housing, Meals on Wheels. He was very active in other communities. He helped other principalities get started and showed them the way to go out and get grants. And but most of all, he had a special love for the city of Newberry. He, no matter what walk of life a person had, he tried to help them, and he was a fun person. He loved life. He was a happy-go-lucky person. He didn't meet a stranger, and he had a lot of history in him, and he could remember. He never lost his memory. He always could remember. No matter how sick he got, he could remember all the history.
And if you can share your favorite memory of him?
My favorite memory of him is when we would just sit and talk, and he would tell me all the old tales and all the old stories and the things he done in life, and how he handled it. And I can remember that he loved to play baseball, and he had a nickname, and his nickname was Horse, and they call him Horse because he could run so fast. And that's some of my favorite memories of him.
Okay. And what would you like the community to remember moving forward?
I would like the community to remember the work that he has done for the city of Newberry, and the love he showed, and just meeting and greeting people, and he's well known in the community, and I think this community really loves him and care for him.
Okay, may you please state your name and spell it?
I'm Lewis King III, Lewis King, and then the third, three.
All right. You can look at me throughout the whole interview. And what was your relationship to Mr. Warmack? That's your great-grandfather?
Mr. Warmack was my great-grandfather.
All right. And how old are you?
I am 12 years old.
Okay. Please share with me on, your thoughts when you heard your great-grandfather passed away.
It was like, everybody was sad to hear the news, but it was also like, he wasn't like doing too well, and so it was kind of good, but I felt okay with it, knowing that he lived a pretty full life.
And what was your favorite memory of your great-grandfather?
My favorite memory of him was I used to always come by and like check on him sometimes, and I remember he always hugged me and called me Pops, even though I should be calling him Pops. And
do you know why he called you Pops?
I think it was a form of him like saying like about like my knowledge, and kind of saying like I'm kind of like act a little bit old, I guess he was kind of saying.
All right. And hearing from like the history he's made in the city, what are your thoughts about that when you heard about it?
It was just like he did a bunch of great stuff for the city, and so I feel like knowing that he's not here anymore, I feel like it should make us like kind of like try and do what he did, and try, and I think it should like inspire us, and so that's kind of.
May you please state your name and spell it?
Pastor Lewis King, King.
And what are you? What's the name of your church that you're a pastor in?
I'm the pastor of Mount Airy Baptist Church, Chiefland, Florida.
All right. And what's your title to Mayor Mr. Warmack?
That's my father-in-law. I married his daughter, Gail.
And what were your thoughts when you heard that he passed?
Well, it was a point of sorrow. It was a point of rejoicing, knowing that he was not in the condition that he was.
And describe him to me when you all were together.
Well, he was the type person that was open. He was one that would tell you the right thing. Matter of fact, he was the one that actually got me into politics and learning what politics was all about, learning the right way and learning ways how to do things. One of the things that impressed me with him, that years ago when he was mayor, he was able to get a grant, and a lot of the houses that was like run down, he was able through the grant to get those houses restored and get a lot of work done in a lot of the houses here in the city of Newberry. And so I thought that was a real good thing, and it was very positive for the community.
And if you can share with me how he died. He said he had some health.
Yeah, was it congestive heart failure? Yeah, he had congested heart failure.
All right. And what would you like the community to remember about Mr. Warmack?
I would like for the community to remember the things that he done in the community and how he reached out just not to the African American community, but to the city of Newberry as a whole. And I believe that if they look at the things that he's done in the past, he set an example for many of us to follow.
All right. And are there any plans you all the family is doing after his death that you would like to share?
After his death,
Any plans on a vigil or?
all of that hadn't been set yet, but we're in process of doing that now.
All right. Do you have any final thoughts you would like to share?
Yes, one other thing I can, as I think about him, when I got married, I had told my dad what time we were going to get married, and both of my dad and her dad showed up to the wedding. And to me, that was, I was surprised that they did that, but I was thankful because you don't find very many father-in-laws show up and the moms stay home. So I thought that was good of him. So evidently I must have was at the courthouse, and I thought evidently I must be was a pretty good son-in-law.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
May you please state your name and spell it?
Jordan Marlowe, Jordan. Marlowe is Marlowe, and I'm the mayor in the city of Newberry.
All right, so please share with me on the former mayor who passed away.
Well, we all woke up this morning a little sadder in the city of Newberry to find that our former mayor, Freddie Warmack, passed away last night. Mayor Warmack gave over 30 years of his life to this community. He's been a public leader, a civil rights leader for our town in a time when that was really hard. He governed and led this city as our first African American mayor in a time where that would have been problematic in a lot of other areas of the country. In Newberry, we've always felt that we have a special bond together as one community. And that bond was started with Freddie Warmack. He had a way of leading this community. Everybody liked him. He always had a smile on his face. He was always gracious. He was always in a good mood. He was always kind. Not only did he serve our city as a commissioner for 10 years and as the mayor for 10 years, he also gave me, and I'm sure every other elected official that came after him, advice, guidance. He's been a mentor of mine. Anytime we had an issue coming up in the city of Newberry, he was always a phone call away, always willing to talk to me, always willing to share his wisdom, his experience. For that, I will always be grateful to Freddie. And I look forward to continuing his legacy here in the city of Newberry.
And how long How long has he been serving as mayor?
Mayor Warmack served as a commissioner from 1974 to 1984. Then he served as the mayor from 1984 to 1994. He also came back as an interim city manager to help us move into the 21st century. So Mayor Warmack has been a part of every single aspect of local government here in the city of Newberry, from rousing up the community to leading us as an elected official. He served in every imaginable way possible.
And let's see, what's your favorite memory of him?
You know, my favorite memory of Mayor Warmack actually has nothing to do with being the mayor. It has to do with going fishing. And every time you'd go fishing with the mayor, afterwards you'd count, no matter who caught the fish, you would count out equally who got which fish. And he was always very fair about that. It didn't matter who caught the fish, we were going to split them down the line equally.
And how do you pronounce his name?
Freddie Warmack.
Warmack, all right. And I guess, what would you like the community to remember most about him?
I think that that we could do honor to the memory of Mayor Warmack by remembering that everywhere we look in this town, we see part of his legacy. This city hall that I'm standing in front of was under his stewardship. Freddie Warmack Park. There just isn't a place that we can go in our community and not see his legacy.
And are there any plans after his death that you all are?
We have put in a request to the governor's office so that we could lower our flags to half-mast. We are waiting for the family to make the arrangements. We certainly want to be respectful and honor their privacy at this moment to grieve. But as soon as the family lets us know what the arrangements are, the city of Newberry will be honored to participate in any way we can.
Do you have any final thoughts? Those are all of my questions. Oh, I just thought of one more question. When did you all build the park in his name?
Actually, the park that is named after Mayor Freddie Warmack was the first African-American school in the city of Newberry, back in a time when schools were segregated. The city, in his honor, took that old school, renovated it into a park, and named it after Freddie Warmack in honor of the fact that he was our first African-American mayor. So that school and that park have a long history and a long legacy in our community, and I hope that it goes on for a long time.
May you please state your name and spell it?
Joy Glanzer, Joyglanzer.
And your title?
City Commissioner of Newberry.
All right, so please share with me your thoughts when you heard that he passed.
Well, Mayor Warmack is a living legend, and he was my role model for forgiveness. He would tell me stories, and we would talk, and one time I asked him, I said, you know, it was difficult growing up African American at that era that he was in. Sometimes it was a little uncomfortable, and so I asked him one day, I said, well, how was it when you grew up and became mayor of the town that you grew up in? And you know what he said to me? He said, they just didn't know no better. And I forgive him, and that was it. His whole past, he put it behind him, and he served this city honorably and with such love and care. And to this day, I mean, up till a few months ago, he was telling me stories about the city and things that had happened during his tenure and how much he cared about this city. And I could listen to him tell stories forever, and I will miss him dearly. I miss him.
Okay, and do you have any favorite memories of him that you would like to share?
Oh, so many. Just how he would come over. He'd come over to my office, and we were supposed to be talking about real estate or something like that, but we would always drift off to talk about Newberry and the history. And to me, I couldn't believe it. I think he was 87 years old, and he could remember years and years ago like it was yesterday. Not many people know that he was a baseball player, and he was a very good catcher from what I understand for the Newberry Braves, and so he was proud of that as well. But I remember so much about his loving way and how much he cared about this community. He served it till today. He served it, and we're grateful that he was in our history and is a part of our history.